Sure. So last time we have discussed this five step of data analyst, right? Do you want to explain again, please?
You want me to explain what a data analyst does? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Um, Data analyst, collects raw data, then prepares it for use, exploring um, patterns and trends, and like building models to analyze it,
Mm-hmm.
and then uh, finally interpreting the results to gain insights.
Mm-hmm.
This structured process also helps organizations, to make informed data-driven decisions. So basically, data analyst helps organizations make informed data-driven decisions efficiently and effectively using this process.
Sure. Uniform data structure is a need of the overall to be included in the whole discussion. So uniform data structures or uniform data design, whatever word you feel, this has to come in the whole description.
Okay.
Again, five
Okay.
distinct step has to be mentioned, right? I can
Sure.
understand and will improve continuously. Please don't worry. There's no right or
Okay.
wrong here. But this is a basically race to improve, what you can say, impress this interviewer, right? So for that,
Right.
we'll try our best and we'll slowly, steadily reach there. No worries there. Okay.
Hmm.
There's no difficulty in this, right? Five step and all.
No. No.
Really got to be great level. We've seen the overall, how the structure works, how
Yeah.
we basically, design these structures. What are things we normally look to remove for, especially what do you mean by cleaning and all those things, right?
Yeah.
That's the most laborious step. Now let's try to understand how we start the, this cleaning. How do we use Excel as an efficient tool? Again, I don't want to market Excel as in Microsoft tool, one of the most mature tool I already discussed with you. But still, we need to believe this is the most mature tool while we saying it, and that should be conveyed through your communication. I know you have really great communication, so I don't have to stress this point more. But still, we need to convey because Excel is a raw tool, which is not anyway the what you can say limit your imagination or limit your modeling power. That's the best use of Excel. I know it's it don't give you click, click, click and get the things done. If you want to reach there, you need to really, put your sweat and blood. You need to really put some efforts into that. And these are really good efforts, and that's what we do as a data analyst. Why do we need data analyst? Because we need to create some insight of the data available in the company. And for a given company, as you know, right? We are collecting
Hmm.
data for left and right for, let's say, consumer behavior. Even I'm selling a pen, right? Let's say in Missouri area, St. Louis area, or California area for that matters, or Houston area for that matters. We need to really understand how to leverage my, history, leverage my current position, even leverage the environment to reach to the maximum potential of my business. Are you with me? This every
Yeah.
businessman, right? Even if you're selling
Right.
and I'm taking manufacturing example because these are easy. If you take something like software wala example, they are a bit complex because the consumer behavior is not that direct to these companies. Even for nowadays healthcare, right? In North America, especially healthcare is booming like left and right after COVID because of some different variants, different challenges, and their data, specifically the particular customer's insight, like the history of the healthcare is very important for their progression. And it's huge history. Means a typical, person at the age of, let's say, 35, 40, if you look at the history of his, healthcare in terms of birth date, in terms of, the overall gradually evolving to a, adult human being. That's what, I might not be medically correct, but I believe you can understand what I'm trying to say here. The
Hmm.
data is such at a huge level means huge in volume, huge in terms of pictorial formats and all those things. There, we might need to really create an insight for a doctor to guide him or her better to treat this person. Normally, what doctor do, right? They try to analyze or observe the patient. Even as you enter the doctor's clinic, as you enter the doctor's room, he and she by just looking at you knows what's wrong with him. If he's really, matured, if he's really that well-versed doctor, if he's really that, doing this clinical practice for so many years, believe me. And they start asking specific questions. So, is your throat dry? How he come to this question? Because he's seen you walking, he's seen what type of he just seen, not you're not told him or her like what are your problems. Say, yeah, I have a bit of sore throat, and this he can deduce from the environmental condition, from your history of healthcare, from your progression to the adulthood. And I'm just taking an example. In case of complicated health challenges for a given person, these increases multifold, because then as an adult, if you have challenges, there are some historical what I can say, I'll not say accident, but there are some historical not so correct behavior for that person. Might be eating habits are wrong for a really, overweight person, or for a slim person, means who couldn't put on weight, other muscle mass required for day-to-day life, and so on and so forth. So there are these really great condition in terms of a healthy person for a given age right now in North America, and they are clearly defined. I'm not talking of India or any other country. I'm just concentrating on healthcare as an American healthcare. And you know how much these insurance guys put in money in terms of such challenges, right? To
Yes.
means what could be, let's say, Ravindra's healthcare monthly deductibles, or monthly, what you can say, charges, or whatever you call it, installment and all, is decided by this whole history. Now, if the
Hmm.
history is really accurate, believe me, all these guys, they keep this history within themselves, and it's a huge database they are really carrying and maintaining and all those things. And for that, we might need a business analyst. Means if you look at the overall industry in North America, I believe one of the topmost consumer of data analysts is the healthcare industry, be it with
Hmm.
insurance, be it with the hospital, be it with a really big, clinical chain and all those things. These guys
Hmm.
really utilize data analyst, extensively, just to understand the history of patient and how the overall projection comes in. This is what we normally call as a trend analysis. We might have heard this word trend in terms of fashion, in terms of other industries, but for healthcare, this is a new thing after COVID. This is really improving in terms of how we can automate the next level suggestion. Again, there are some healthcare laws implemented in North America which don't let you use AI agent directly. So you can't get medicine pulled out of AI agent saying, okay, now you can have one paracetamol daily for your, whatever anemic conditions or lower anemic conditions you have, and blah, blah, blah. You can't do that in North America. Most probably, I believe you can't do anywhere. But in some countries, they've already started these things. Like specifically in UAE, they've started this practice as a humanoid doctor in UAE. They make it legal. So if you go to hospital, I'm not saying there are too many right now. I believe three or four such doctors available, and there are humanoid doctors. You know humanoid, right? It's a robot.
Yeah,
Which
yeah, I know. Yeah, this that was a big news recently that
exactly.
yeah, they're using humanoid doctors. Yes, like a robotic. They're using robot arms. Yeah.
Yeah. So these are not just the arms. These are like whenever you enter the hospital, and believe me,
Yeah.
there are videos available on YouTube. I don't have right now video,
Yeah.
but I'll share with you. Don't worry. So whenever you enter the hospital, and let's say a humanoid doctor, they say, "Hey, good morning, Ravindra. How are you? So what type of challenge do you have?" Say, I just have a ready a regular medical checkup." So he'll just
Hmm.
take a pint of blood, not pint, sorry, drop of blood. He'll
Hmm.
take a bit of weight, height, they call it eye calibration, eye, something, I forgot it. So they'll take you a
Yeah.
detailed photo of your eyes, detailed photo of your ECG, that's a breathing,
Yeah.
frequency, blah, blah thing. So they are these, observation, they will do it on you within, let's say, a minute or so. Okay.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
that, believe me, they can reach to a conclusion within seconds. So they'll say,
Yeah.
oh, you are low on, palate count. You are really, gaining weight left and right. So you need to cut down this, cut down that. And these are the normal, you might have heard this thing 100 times. So these kind
Yeah.
of things they started giving. In North America, what they believe, Means the way those bills and everything's have been discussed in Senate. They're trying to say we need to have a human touch whenever you are delivering these results.
Mm-hmm.
There are hardly any patients who wants to hear it from a robot rather than a
Mm-hmm.
human person saying, okay, you need to, and believe me, there are some, benchmarks or there are some deviations allowed. Let's say if
Mm-hmm.
Ravindra is put on 3 kilo weight, okay, that doesn't mean like you should tell him like, no, stop eating lunch. Means if you go to the
Mm-hmm.
robotics level, for them it's straightforward through. There are no emotions involved in that. But when you come to doctor, right, a human doctor, we expect, like at least I expect, he was
Yeah,
here.
we expect nice behavior. Yeah.
Exactly. They try to put that thing in humanoid, but I don't think it's like driving car. Means you have good experience, I have really bad experience, or I have really bad learning, I will say. But these things do
Mm.
happen. So they are progressing. I believe me, they are progressing day in, day out. But how they are progressing? They are progressing because the data is available with them. The history, the current,
Mm.
and the environment. These are the three things very important in healthcare. So if you are, preparing for the healthcare interview, I'll tell you these things again that time as well. How does doctor work? They, study your history. They
Mm-hmm.
observe you currently, and they study the environment. So if it's a cold, well, they'll give you cold medicine anyway. If it's a hot,
Mm-hmm.
they'll try to, ignore those because in North America there are no medicines for hot. In India,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you need to cool down your body temperature and all. So they might suggest some, some medicine like twice a day kind of scenario, and there are a good number of medicines available here. So that's how we do in terms of healthcare nowadays. And these are the strategies which we use as a data analyst. So what we'll do, I'll study that person's data, might be span over, let's say, 40 years, as we were discussing the example. So 40 years will have at least, 80 to 100 records. And that's very normal for a given person. For a, challenging health situation, there could be 400, there could be 1,000 rows as well. Again, we
Mm-hmm.
study, and these are with each and every visit. Nowadays, it's required by HIPAA. Like whenever you visit doctor, they'll have a record of your visit. They'll have a record of whatever observations, whatever test like blood pressure, body temperature, your I don't know. There are around 6, 7 such points. They have.
Biometrics, yeah, they have it ready. Yeah.
Right. They have to they have to record it digitally as well, and
Okay.
they
Okay.
need to send this audit number quarterly to health department saying "Okay, these are what and these are federal law, not state law. So there's no difference or what you can say exception to that. So we need to do these things. And rather than a patient number, they have your insurance provider, identification, which is
Mm-hmm.
carried forward with this record because of there are lots of data theft and blah blah things happen.
Mm-hmm.
So this also they've included. So all these data is with doctor and insurance service provider then and there wherever you visit your doctor. Okay, so like that,
Mm-hmm.
we need to have these data collected, and data is such an important critical part because without this, you couldn't progress in terms of industrialized healthcare, right?
Mm-hmm.
For a human
Yeah.
doctor, he'll be helpless if he or she don't have your data, right? In terms of
Mm-hmm.
historical data. So whenever some person, let's say, migrate from India to North America, they'll create these records whenever you start, getting insurance. And nowadays, whenever you start basically with the employer, you have that health checkup, right? And it's
Yeah.
extensive. In good old days, used to just, body weight, height, and eating habits, and veg, non-veg, and this level, that level. It was just a few hours test with a given associated hospital or healthcare service provider at that time. But nowadays, it's really extensive. Whenever somebody moves from any other country to North America, they have at least, I think, 3 days test. So you have fasting blood sugar, this sugar, that sugar, and a lot of things. So they try to create this history for you so that the health insurance service provider can give you a code for all these health insurance, medical insurance, this claim, that claim, and blah 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 things. So that's why it's
Mm-hmm.
required by law in North America, and that's why there are literally good number of data analysis required for these health service provider. I'll call it health service provider, which includes clinic, hospital, which includes those what you can say even insurance service providers themselves, and so on and so forth. So by HIPAA, HIPAA is the law which basically regulates the healthcare professionals' ethics, their practice, the requirement of submitting their data to state and federal government, and so on and so forth. So that is normally prevalent in healthcare. Okay, I'm sorry, it's a bit longer example, but we need to understand this data importance and the way the industry is working. And healthcare is
Mm-hmm.
most important because it's evolving now. There are good number of chances that we might land up to the healthcare as an healthcare data analyst or data scientist, and they
Mm-hmm.
literally employ a good number of data scientists as well. Okay, let's try to understand this. Analyst and scientist. These things again. There are quite a few overlaps, but the clear indication, data analyst, we do a kind of tactical addressal. What do you mean by tactical addressal? Whenever you create solution, it's basically for the current problem what we have or the problem at.
Mm-hmm.
But when you say data scientist, right, they try to create solutions which are repetitive in nature. So whenever
By looking at trends, I guess, like
exactly
what the market trend is, and then they come up with a solution.
right.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
if you want to understand in a layman terms, that UA example can be a data scientist example because that humanoid has to present let's say, I'll not say it because
Ah, right, right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's a data scientist example. Correct.
because
Yeah, based on the trends. Yeah, correct.
and again, there are some complications. Let's say if some really slim people migrate, let's say to Dubai from Mumbai. Let's example a raw example. I might
Mm-hmm.
not. This might not be correct, but you'll understand. A slim person migrates to Dubai, and they go to this thing on their third day whenever they land and all to this humanoid. And humanoid look at him. The humanoid says. Hey boss, you're really low on your mass. So body mass ratio is really low, and that makes you a bit of weaker person. Again, if even if fat or a weak than a normal body mass, you are a weak person because for if you don't have muscle mass, you couldn't really exert yourself that much as required for that age group for that this thing, right? Even if you're fat,
Mm-hmm.
the body uses too much what I can say power, and then also you'll feel exhausted and all, so you couldn't use your full mind power. That's a generic healthcare's what you can say thumb rule or something like that, right? So whenever this
Mm-hmm.
humanoid sees this person, say boss, you need to put on some muscle mass, and then the humanoid might ask, could I give you some mass what you can say enhancers, or some they have these powders, milkshake, and so many things, even for
Mm-hmm.
fat and the slim people saying ki, yeah, you need to put on
Mm-hmm.
mass here there, and I'll suggest you walking, I'll suggest you do some treadmill, I'll suggest you do some aerobics, yoga, zumba, and there are thousand different alternatives available. And these
Mm-hmm.
try to eat some really fatty people sorry fatty food like McDonald's fries or potato burger. Try to use more potato and all those things. So these kind of extensive carbohydrate things they'll suggest to them. This is how it'll go basically. But again, if the person visits again, let's say 15 days down the line, months down the line, that humanoid might suggest him or her, he like, please come on after 15 days, and I'll try to understand. Now again, when you say humanoid, right? It can work. Please pardon me. I'm referring it because I believe it's a machine. Okay. Please don't. What you can say. There was a student in my last batch. She was really, what you can say, some activist or something. She says, no, please refer to him, humanoid as a he or she. I said,
हे
madam,
भगवान.
अरे बाप रे, हाँ,
ओके.
completely.
क्या बकवास है.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah, नहीं, मेरे साथ ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. I don't mind. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. Yeah,
Okay.
that's probably a new generation.
I
What is
know.
it? Z or something? Nonsense.
She was like 23 or something. But okay,
Yeah.
you need to, respect all these things. So please pardon me if I'm referring as
Oh
a.
no, don't worry about it. I am an old generation. I'm okay. I don't follow trends.
Thank God. I'll say
Yeah.
now. Okay. So, when it says, keep us, you need to visit, let's say after 15 days. And, this guy, this robot can't work 24 by 7. So he might ask, let's say 9:30 in the night, or early morning, and whatever available to the concerned person, and that humanoid robot, because they will definitely have a good calendar sense, good what I can say planning sense, and all those things. So it'll happen really good. In the sense, when it says 9:30, so this person goes at 9:30, after 15 days, say, boss, your intakes are still very low. And
Mhm.
please tell me how many times you eaten fries, potato, mashed potato, this potato, that potato, this rice, that rice, and all. So he said, no, I really don't like this thing. And believe me, whenever we try to change our health habits, there are, whatever we don't like, it basically affects your health. Because those are the vitamins, those are the things which we are not having, and that's why there's a problem. You could see, right?
Mhm.
In a kind of
Mhm.
scenario. So that's how it happens. So he says, okay, so you need to increase intake rather than thrice a week. Please do it 5 times a week, because you're not putting up so many mass, and this will take our strategy for around 6 to 7 months, and so on. So again, for a humanoid, it's clearly understandable to plan tactical or strategic nature. But how he, inferred to this strategic nature, because he did a trend analysis of the muscle mass increase. How much is the need? How much his body is basically genetic. So, for a person eating a potato gives X number of fats in his city, or X number of muscle, what I can say, enhancers, right? It's not common for everybody. Ravindra might get 10%, somebody might get 20%, and so on and so forth. So even for humanoid, the data of how much intake and how much actual result in health improvement is another data points, which is not common to everybody. So whenever it
Mhm.
comes to tactical thing, it might work, but when it comes to strategic thing in some solution, we might need a more detailed view. Again, this trend analysis is not based on a single factor trend analysis. There are lots at play in terms of what type of exercise, what type of even traveling, or any other extensive workouts or something like that planned or need to be planned for a given healthcare patient, and so on and so forth. So these type of solutions require a really huge amount of data in terms of data scientist. Plus, when you say there are around 12 different types of data analysts. Will come to that. When it comes to just trend analysis or exploratory analysis, as they normally refer to, there are lots of mathematical formulas involved. That's why
Mhm.
data scientist is science is a real, what you can say, next step in analytics, with these formulas to be implemented for a given solution programmatically, rather than the formulas available with Excel or any other such tools which have limited number of permutation combination. Even if, let's say, W or any other matured data analytical tool, we still falling short of such extensive uh, programming or mathematical implementation within that solution. That's why after a certain point, and I'll not say every solution need data scientist, but there are some solution where if you want to really evolve to the nth level, you might go with the programming, and you might go with the detailed, what I can say, repetitive analysis with different, choices available for a given scenario. As I told you, like
Mhm.
increasing muscle mass, it's not same for the person. It's not same for the given way of working as well. If the person is really moving around a lot, there's going to be lots of calorie consumption and blah blah thing. So the calorie consumption or the fat conversion into his system, the muscle mass conversion into this system, this variable list goes on and on. I'm sorry, I'm not boring with these medical mumbo jumbos, but these things do happen. So whenever we are trying to prepare for some healthcare thing, we might need to use these words. And believe me, while discussing, I'll try to include those things in our discussion, so we can be better day by day. Okay, don't worry about
Mhm.
that. That's why most probably I would suggest to keep thinking about the domain which you want to work for, be it a business analyst or data analyst. We need to understand the domain, and whatever opportunity we have, I would really love you to start searching in terms of with the LinkedIn, Dice, Monster, whatever searching you are comfortable in. Start searching for opportunities also. Okay, don't.
So when you say domain, what do you mean? You mean like finance,
Yeah,
banking, healthcare? Is that what you're saying?
yeah,
Is that
perfect.
what you mean? Okay.
Education, whatever domain you like.
Okay.
And believe
Got
me,
it.
when you think about domains, right? The best way is whatever I like to read, I like to understand, be it a fashion domain, I'll say also. Because even in fashion domain, the way these cosmetics products come, they have a detailed data analysis behind them. Be it a simple
Mm-hmm.
cream, like putting, humidity, sorry, they call it humidity, they call it, I don't know, they call it something to your screen. Humidity in the sense, the creaminess, the flexibility of your screen, because
Mm-hmm.
due to snow and all, there are some challenges with people who are moved from other countries to North America, and as North America have good number of immigrants migrating to North America, they have these specific cosmetic products to have your skin's rigidity reduced, and you need to apply in the night and in the afternoon and blah blah things. I've seen that because um, this is what happens in couple of friends who moved to North America from India, and they have to apply these these lotions afternoon in the morning. Whenever you go to sun, you apply. Whenever you sleep, you apply, and blah blah things. So they,
Mm-hmm.
they provide these things. These creams are based on that person's skin reacting to a given temperature range, reacting to a given sun exposure. Whenever we
Mm-hmm.
normally move to North America from India, from any other third world country. Pardon me for using this word, but I want to use this specifically because in our country, right, we do walk on the sun quite a lot. But when you move to
Mm-hmm.
something like UAE, US, Europe, the walking in the sun reduces drastically. You might have,
Yeah, 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 because there's more cars and all that. Correct.
exactly.
We use more cars and all. Yeah.
And
So sunscreen is not that important here as much compared to. And also, I think the sun also, the way it falls in India is different from the way it falls here.
right. So because of the heat, the humidity, and different levels,
Yeah.
yours might be a bit of you get rashes and all.
Yeah.
Luckily, I think I never had such problem. I just had problem. I landed in September, so in December or January, they given me a small tube to apply to my hands,
Mm.
all those things, but nothing really serious. But
Mm-hmm.
still, there are lots of people who have to do this thing year around because their skin couldn't really cope up with the
Yeah,
temperature.
they have eczema or psoriasis is very
Something
common
like that,
here.
yeah. I think
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
talking about at a disease level. I'm talking about a pre-disease level. Whenever
Mm.
your skin is trying to basically fight with all these environmental changes and try to cope up with this. So
Yeah.
we need to have that historical data plus how your body is reacting to the scenario. And that's why history, environment, and the current conditions of a given human these are the three most important things whenever you basically study these historical data. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
that's why this historical data is really critical. Okay, I believe you got a hint of how data analysts and data scientists are a bit different,
Yeah, I understood. Yeah.
and there are lots of overlaps. It's not like one day you just shift the chair from analyst to scientist. When you do a scientist, when you try to become a scientist, analyst is the first step. Believe me, unless and until you understand the analysis, as in this 5 step, 6 step, 10 step, whatever you are conversing.
So I wanted to get into data governance actually, to be
Yeah,
honest. I don't want to become a data scientist because I know that requires programming and all, and I'm not really good at it.
right.
Um, so data governance is the track, but I understand I do need to have a good understanding of how the system works, like what a architect does, what a analyst does, what an engineer does in order to, right?
Yeah, let me do one thing. Let's have
Mhm.
a couple of sessions, 3, 4 sessions after our data analysis thing, specifically for data governance. Okay, we'll study
Okay,
data
okay.
governance in detail,
Yeah.
and we'll try to understand what governance does in terms of, as I told you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Analyst plus some sort of a backup recovery administration is what the governance is all about. Okay,
Right.
session in
Yeah.
the sense how to create user, how to give access, and all those things. So there are a bit
Yeah.
of controlling or recovery, storage. These things are involved in governance because you're governing data as an entity, right?
Yeah.
Plus, there are some security practices also. So we'll have a look at it after these sessions. Whenever you
Okay.
get preparing for interview and all, you'll get a good hang of it. Like how we can move to the governance also. Please don't be on that part. But
Okay.
we'll do in detail because analysis you can think as a first step. They
Yeah,
don't.
yeah. It's the base for
Yeah,
everything.
that's
Yeah.
okay. And when you think about governance thing, right? They normally promote people within. So mostly it's a horizontal or what you can say organic
Ah,
for a company.
right.
So,
Makes
you can't
sense.
have an administrator coming from outside, right? There are lots
Yeah.
of security challenges, plus understanding the company culture. Uh,
Yeah.
Basic security challenges is the major. See, if you own a company, right, and you want to hire an administrator, you will normally look for the guy who you trust, guy or girl who you trust,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you're going to
Mm-hmm.
give him or her the keys of your treasure, right? Treasure is
Yes.
data is basically these are the treasures you normally hold near and dear, be it a IT company, healthcare company, and all those things. And we need to start believing that because data is driving even believe me, around 45-55% of IT applications are data driven. So unless you have data at your disposal, you couldn't run that application or you couldn't basically utilize any of their services. So that's why, like we talk about healthcare, right? Unless and until you have the historical data, you couldn't basically start giving insurance. You can't say, hey, Ravindra, you landed in US, take this insurance. No, you can't do that.
Right.
Understand
Right.
as a
Yeah.
person, his health, his reactions to health. Even giving a cosmetic cream in North America is controlled by the insurance service provider. Believe me,
Yes.
it's
Yes.
not like India. You can just go to the medical store and purchase, let's say, what you can say, fairness cream. Well, there are available in North America, but still, it's controlled and it's basically what you can say.
Yeah, anything that has medication is
Uh,
usually controlled. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's basically it's a good thing. And I really believe it's a good thing. But yeah, lots of money involved and the way it's gone to a what can I say money mindedness really hurts you
Yes.
as a consumer. But
Yeah.
still for a long term it's really good regulated thing. There are frequent audits, there are frequent checks and balances. So that helps you a lot. In
Mm-hmm.
India, if you compare, it's a bit heavy situation. Means there are quite a few duplicate meditations. There are lots of cases where expired medication is given by the hospitals as well, and so on and so forth. So these are the things which basically are better in terms of healthcare service providers in a really developed country like Canada and North America. In India, we are having a bit of shortfall of that, but that's okay, no problem. So that's why the data is a really, really important thing. So unless and until you have that data at your disposal, you couldn't do anything in terms of start giving services in a certain scenarios. In certain scenarios, you might like banking, right? You don't need their historical records. Well, nowadays they have that credit score kind of thing, but score is again a private entity. Believe me. Um,
Mm-hmm.
well,
Right. Yeah.
it's a legal
Correct.
private entity which threaten you
Yes.
left and right throughout your life.
Yes.
That's a
Yes.
statement of a US Supreme Court judge, and that's really true.
Mm-hmm.
Because they threat you, like whenever you go for a loan application. And nowadays, even for a means I've been there frequently, and this means I want to get a mobile, they say, okay, I need to check out your credit score. He said, boss, I was not there for last 3 years. No, 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 we have all your data. And believe me, they have the data from 1999. And they
Mm-hmm.
well, they get the credit score and all, and I had really good credit touch wood, I'll say, because I was really,
Mm-hmm.
unaware of such thing when I, moved to North America. It was really okay by God grace, it happens correctly, and I really don't like credit card that much. I don't like the word credit itself. It means udhar,
Mm-hmm.
right, in Hindi. But yeah, it's a part of life in North America. You have to have a credit card. You have to have that credit history one way or the other. Not having credit history is also daunting, right? So
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
that's
It's
also
mandatory here. Yeah.
yeah. But still, at least you can open a bank account. I believe you can still open a bank account if you don't have a credit history in North America. And
Yes.
there are certain companies in India they share your credit history with North America nowadays. So it's across country,
Right.
across globe.
Yeah.
Again, it's a private company, and private company means I'll not say it's a outright fraud, but there are lots of tweaking and twisting happening. They
Yeah.
don't have a standard set
Right.
of rules saying, okay, if you did this, you have a good credit history. And I'm not just talking about paying credit card bill on time and blah blah thing. There are lots of intricacies involved. Means I have good number
Yeah.
of financial cases I've gone through, and there are lots and lots of challenges of those basic rules, even across region, across country and all. So that's why. But
Yeah.
still, uh, data history or historical data is a need in all industry nowadays, and that's why we as a data analyst we normally utilize these historical data and try to draw inferences which are required for these service provider, which are required by these industries nowadays. Okay, you got this importance of data, historical data
Yes. I
now.
got it. Yeah.
Sure. Now,
Mhm.
let's start with understanding Excel and how we, sorry, how we basically do this thing as an using this historical data in terms of how to utilize Excel as a tool. Again, it's a continuous process. You learn some Excel right now. You learn some Excel in few minutes, hours, and all those things. So it's an evolutionary process. Okay. Again, Excel as a basic tool, as a really good tool, mature tool. So we are lucky to have Microsoft Excel as a tool to study, to understand, right?
Mhm.
I given you some Excel a link, right? The spreadsheet guru.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah. You
it's a
did.
third
Yeah.
service provider. They have really good sample data, and that's why we might refer to their sheets quite frequently, right? Today, let's
Mm-hmm.
try to understand this employee data and try to formulate some Excel. So whenever you download this data, it comes in something like, okay, let me share my complete screen now again. Not this one. Screen. Could you see list of files here?
Yes.
These are again I downloaded from this Sheet Guru or whatever that site name is. Thanks to them, it's not a copyright. It's there for research and all those things. But still, we need to mention it because they've really created. Let's go ahead with the employee data. They give you a CSV file. You can see a CSV.csv
Mm-hmm.
here. Okay, let me magnify this thing. Okay. Uh,
CSV basically means it's an extension for Excel, right?
Yeah,
But it's an Excel
yeah,
file.
employee sample data CSV. This is downloaded from that same site, okay,
Mhm.
which is different from XLS. When you open in Excel, it'll try to convert in this thing. Could you see this thing? This is a
One
CSV.
second.
Sorry,
Oh, okay. What you said it will convert into what?
XLS. XL.
Oh, okay.
That's the extension. You see this file,
Right.
right? So something like that.
Yeah. So
Um,
what's the difference between CSV and XLS? Like what the extent?
Yeah,
Hmm.
CSV is comma separated text database. Okay, so if you go to Google, let me go to Google here, and I'll say CSV full form. Okay, so it says comma separated values. This is basically a text file, which is text in the sense I open a notepad, right? I
Oh,
open a notepad.
oh,
Let
this is
share you these details. And when I say MID, name, M name, sorry, sorry, M name, middle name, L name, and I'm giving a tab in between. Could you see?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
ID tab, name, I'm given tab, right? I don't know. Yeah, I've given a tab, not space. Again, I'm given a tab.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say zip. I've given another tab, and let's say secret. Okay, I'm creating a spreadsheet. This is the oldest way of creating a spreadsheet.
Mm-hmm.
Notepad is a pure text file. You can understand, right? So
Yeah.
impact let's say 001. Name is let's say Ravindra. Let's say Pande. 3101. This is the Clayton Road. Uh, Okay, I know that's why I'm putting this thing. Please don't, this thing.
Yeah.
003. Okay, sorry. 3. I'll come to problem of this CSV also. That's why I'm creating 2 or 3 record at the max. Let's say jump down. Block, I believe. I'm not very sure, but I'm just putting NY here. Okay, let's create 3 record. Wow, that's the biggest mistake. This thing will happen. 6. Okay, so let's say I don't know which city is this. So I have created this file. I go to file. I go to save as. Okay. Now I can
Yeah.
literally save it as a CSV. So how do you do it? This thing, this sample dot CSV. Okay.
Okay.
I'm doing it EUS tech train and I'll save it. Okay. This is not a text file. This is the way you normally give an extension to this thing. So I'll save this. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'll go to US tech train. US tech train. Okay. Could you see this symbol?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, let me maximize it. Okay, this is because, and there's a. Okay, so it's a converted Microsoft Excel comma separated value file, and it's just 145 bytes. Okay, now I'll open this in Excel. Oh no, they have not converted it correctly. They just included in one row. They should have separated by tab. I don't know. Might be something wrong with the tab separation here. But normally they do it in emp ID, name, name, and this like that. I don't know why it's happened, but let me try to open it again as a conversion thing. Like this, right? They have separate column. I don't know why it's not doing that. You can try it on your own. Is there a separate way to open this? Open with Excel. No, still there's a problem. You know what's happening? It changed everything to just one column.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
There's no
It
pattern.
doesn't
But
separate to
normally
A, B,
this
C, D.
doesn't happen. This happens. This should happen like first column, second column, and all. Okay, try this thing on your own. You'll get an idea. Might be
Okay.
my Excel might be giving problem or something like that. And these things do happen. These are basically softwares. They might KY sometimes. Okay. Now, okay. When it comes to size, right? Let me take you. This file is 120 KB. Okay. And when it comes to this file, this is 97 KB.
Oh, so it becomes small.
Smaller. Because Excel have some compression technique. When you say data, Excel normally zips that file. If you know zip, right? But
Yeah,
zip,
yeah, I know zip. Yeah, yeah.
so zip can convert the text file up to 98% compression. But Excel
Oh,
don't zip exactly. They have certain
okay.
compression technique within themselves, which reduces the file size. But again, Excel adds formatting to it. So that formatting basically adds up to the file size. But still, it's smaller than the text size. Text is the smallest.
Does the format change when you do that from CSV to
Yeah.
XLS?
Let me delete this file because that's a older practice which we did. And now when I save this thing, right, I'll come to Excel.
And
Uh,
then how do you convert from
yeah,
CSV to how do you convert this file from CSV to Excel?
I'll do that.
Hmm.
Okay, I'll just basically try to increase the width of the column. I'm trying to put some formatting with it, right? So that
Mhm.
we know the differences and we know how the file size and all those things changes. You
This
can
is CSV?
Yeah, this is a CSV file which I opened. I
Okay.
think there is okay. Here it says CSV. Could you see on
Okay,
the
there.
top? Sorry. It might not be visible, but still I couldn't. Okay. Could you see CSV now?
Yeah, now I can see. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
there's a bit of
Employee sample data.csv. Yeah, I
exactly.
see
Okay.
that.
So I'm just
Yeah.
trying to put this non-visible data and extending the column way. Okay. Now, what I
Right.
do, I'll put some formatting. Like this is my header row, right? I should address this header row in a bit of different color and all. It's a small Excel sheet, not that big. I believe 1,000 row or something like that. But still, which color should I have? Let's put this one. I'll center it. We've seen this formatting yesterday, right?
Yeah.
I'll pick it
Yeah.
up. Okay. So what I did, I just changed these things and I'll make this thing center aligned so that, this one, the column center aligned so that these columns can really readable. I think this is enough. Now I'm going to save this. When you say save, it asks me some features of the workbook might be lost to save as CSV, comma delimited means it's separated by comma. So E387, comma Emily days and something like that. Okay. So you want to keep using format, I'll say no. So now it'll ask me to save as Excel sheet. And see, you can see rather than CVS, I can use all these format. XLS is new one.
Oh,
Excel SX is new one. This is the old
oh,
one. Okay. Old one in the sense it'll increase your size. Okay. Let me show you these as well. So it'll now label as employee sample data dot XLS. I'll save this.
oh, oh.
Okay. Now the size have been bit increased because in older format, can I see this thing? Yeah, this is the XLS. It's 273 KB, 237 KB. So it's
Oh,
double numbers. Okay.
okay.
These are the small examples. That's why we are looking at in a KB. When it comes to huge data, it might come into the MB. I can give you an 8 MB text file, CSV file. I have those things with me, which have around, I think, 8,000 records and blah, blah things. So see, if you, I'm just trying to give you an idea of the data size we have. Okay.
So does it mean it got saved on the cloud?
No, no, right. This is
Oh,
same.
it's all in
I'm
in the
using
Excel. Oh,
2013. Let me show you. I will.
okay, got it.
Was that few? Where's it? Okay, I will. Uh,
It's on the right side here, I guess.
this was Excel version here. Uh,
Okay.
okay, is it the option or something like that? Previously, there used to be a help button. Okay, yeah, there's a help button here, I believe now. Or just let me say F1. F1 is for help. Okay, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's a 2013.
Office 2030. Yeah.
No longer supported. So if you upgrade, they'll start asking some money. This is the old I've purchased and
Right,
I've
right.
continuing because specifically I kept it because it has some features which are removed later
Mm.
in terms of handling your local data and all those things. Okay, so with the 365, it's really great advance. There are good number of advancement, including that co-pilot and all those things. We'll learn those things as well. But there are some raw way of doing this thing. That's why I kept 2013 just for the training purpose of it. And I'll show you those things as well. Okay, so
Okay.
these are the version. So that's why I have to say escape. I believe right. No, escape doesn't work. uh, so this is the way. Now I'm saving. Try to save it as an XLS. That's the latest version. So if you
Mm-hmm.
are going to use Office 365, you have to have that XLS. And there's one called with macro enable Excel sheet as well. We'll learn these things afterwards whenever we have a look at XML database. So Excel sheet as a database and that to XML database. So we'll come to that later. Just hold on your questions on XML, but we are saving as an XLS. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And if you
Mm-hmm.
look at the size now, XLSC. Now this is just 94.6 KB.
Mm. Oh, it's very nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the beauty of excellence. That's the maturity of excellence. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the way of kind of starting the formatting or understanding how I can make my document more readable. Are you with me? Could you understand what I'm trying to say here?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
More readable and we can be easily. Again, I have just did a couple of things like job title can be also centered,
Hmm.
right? And
You
so
know,
on.
in SQL,
Uh-huh.
in the Microsoft SQL, when we those files that we open, are they usually CSV files or Excel?
No, ma'am. From
As
SQL, you can also export a CSV file. If you have a SQL on
CSV.
your laptop or computer, try doing that. You can save the
Okay.
data or save the database as a SQLs, as a CSV file.
CSV. Okay.
Try to do
Yeah.
it with single table so that you'll not get confused.
Got it. Yeah.
Or you can import this CSV to MySQL as it is.
Okay.
I don't know SQL here. Let me check out. Let me get that SQL things checked up and ready so that I can show you that as well. Okay. Again, these are just the storage mechanism.
Yeah.
And we have to, give important to tools as well. But let's try to keep it as a minimum. Okay. So whenever we are talking, even through the interview, try to keep a motto of, well, tool, I know this tool, and learning tool is hardly anything. Because sometimes some company, let's say if you go to a big hospital chain and they are looking for a data analyst, and they ask you, have you worked Sybase? Sybase is one of the most oldest database. But all these database, they have this CSV import facility and even Excel import facilities nowadays. Because on the cloud, we normally try to keep our storage at minimum. And when you have database migrated to cloud, it basically takes a hell lot of space because a database has some clause like is update. So whenever Ravindra Pande changes this formatting, right, it tries to save the complete log. So Ravindra with his login name, whatever the login name was, or the user with such and such login name was logged in from such and such time to such and such time. He worked on such and such tables, and he worked on such and such table, as in he changed the alignment, left to center, and so on and so forth. These are each line of logs get added to the database. Could you
Okay.
understand what I'm trying to say? This is what they call history of user updation or is update. Is update
So
is very
basically, it tells you exactly what changes you made step by step.
exactly. So every
Okay.
database, and believe me, it's a part of their security measures. It's a part of why you use
Yes.
RDMS. They call it relational data management. So what is relational?
Uh,
Relational within the table, relation within the users, the hierarchy of the users, and the update made by the users. So if anything, what you can say, except hierarchy is done one way or the other, programmatically or otherwise, the database locks those record. Believe me, locks in the sense the accessibility available to only top user called database administrator. And it
right.
locks the record, not the table, not the database, and blah blah thing. So when you try
Okay.
to use that record, it'll get reported or escalated to administrator saying, "Oh, Ravindra is trying to play around," and it's a security risk.
Uh,
Believe me, I have seen quite a few data administrator. So this is how it happens. And nowadays, it's a
so what's the full form of RDL, relational data?
database. And I will come to that in a couple of
Oh,
slides.
okay. Oh,
Because
okay. Okay.
to understand the data types, the way they storage, the way the hierarchy and everything is used. This is a need because data is a prime element right here. What we're trying to play. So we need to understand and as you say, governance was your forte. So this is also needed. So I've just included those slides also. So we'll see that in a
Sure.
couple of minutes. Please don't worry. But
Okay.
still, RDBMS, relational database management. Okay. And this is really, important point to remember because there are these questions. So what do you mean by relational? So relation between table, relation between user, hierarchy of user, that's the relational. Database management. So what do you manage? You manage recovery, you manage, backup, you manage these updates, you manage the traceability. They call it traceability and so on. So we will come to that. What are the services and all? Just give you a heads up basically. And it's really great way to understand. And believe me, the maturity of database is really, really magnificent to understand. It's like, some products are evolving to its maturity, right? Something like that. I like understanding evolution, be it a humanoid, right? Be it a driverless car. I don't know. That's kind of understanding. That's how I start liking computers. How even that, document, right? First used to get that paperback novel. I'm a vivid reader. I like to read and all. So used to get that paperback with very small font size. Could you remember? They call it books. in India.
Yes,
Uh,
yes,
and
yes.
I
I
used to
remember.
those sci-fi criminal stories with Pandit Keshav
Yeah.
Pandit.
Yes, yes, I remember that.
So these are really, good history and how it evolves to an ebook nowadays. Means even that
Yeah.
John Lee's Reacher, right? You've seen Reacher? There's a good serial on Netflix available, sitcom
No,
called.
no, I haven't.
It's a set of around, I think, 32 odd books written by this Jim Lee or G Lee, as he normally
Mm-hmm.
refers himself. He really writes, well in terms of environmental descriptions. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
when he try to explain a person onboarding an aircraft or just alighting from the aircraft, the way he explains in 5, 6 pages, believe me, pages is like kind of a good number of lines and all. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
the way he explained is really magnificent. Means we never seen such kind of linguistic. And he was a Chinese, migrated to North America in his 30s and all. He then settled. I think he passed away a couple of years ago. He was in Kansas or somewhere Middle East. So that was really great guy. The way
Mm-hmm.
he explains it, I think it's in mostly Chinese culture or not. I don't know, but the way he explains the environment, now I really fascinated by that explanation. We don't use so many words, right? Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a talkative person, and that's why I like the thing about that book. Those books, if you purchase a paperback, right? I need to pay around $80. Believe me, $80. His,
Wow.
if you go to ebooks, it's hardly $2. Could you understand? Ebooks
Right, right.
are
I
cheaper.
know.
I
Yeah.
read ebook.
Yeah.
I
Ebooks
use
are
you might have Apple Reader as well, right? So Apple Reader
yes,
is
yes.
like I think $3 or $5 at the most. But with Apple
Yeah.
Reader, you get really great images and all. I normally use Pocketbook, which is a free, and you
Yeah.
just pay $2, $3 to these guys with the latest this thing. And the older one, you can just hack into some library and get it downloaded. That's also well. So these kind of things which which really what I can say gives you to read such a magnificent novels, such a magnificent writer or artistic work created by these guys. It's really magnificent. Be it a Harry Potter, right? You must have read Harry Potter.
Yeah. Yeah, I have.
The way
Yes.
she explained in terms of the emotions, the way she explains your internal, dilemma, it is really great. Because as a human, be it a Harry, be it that Ron, be it Hermione, or what, all these characters, even Dumbledore for that matter, the way she explained the Dumbledore character, it's really out of the world. Means I have not seen anybody except Shakespeare, but Shakespeare, the English is my problem. I'm not really well versed with that old type of English and all, but still. And
Mm-hmm.
now, believe me, every database has every novel is a kind of database when it
Mm.
comes to images, when it comes to every word is a data element. So every text is basically a data element. So is my text. Harry Potter are two different texts, and so on and so forth. This is how they normally create a database. Ebook is a kind of a database reader, specifically EPUB. You can
Mm-hmm.
synchronize. So even they are working on EPUB across languages. You normally have a really great conversion from English EPUB to Spanish, English to English, UK English to European English. I don't know why they still like the European way of it, but still they have this conversion. Even I
Mm-hmm.
think European English to French is really great conversion. They
Mm-hmm.
they still started on English, Indian languages, but we have so many complications, right? Which is
Mm-hmm.
not really what you can say relative linguistic rules and all. So they are still
Mm-hmm.
struggling with that, but they're coming up. Believe me, in next I think 5, 6 years, you have all those Harry Potter available in Marathi, converted on
Mm-hmm.
fly because all these database, and
Mm-hmm.
that's really magnificent. The way means you can imagine such a thing in your a book whatever you are reading currently, and you can able to convert, let's say, Emily Davis to Indian language, to Hindi. Means Emily Davis written as an Emily Davis.
Right, right.
So
Yes.
these kind of scenario. So that's why data is really crucial, and even simple formatting does help a lot to make it readable. And as a
Mm-hmm.
human, right, we try to awe the beauty of easy readability or easy access or easy conversion of the data to an inference or to a what you can say, resultant this thing. Because whenever you read a novel, right, you don't remember the exact novel, but what you remember is
Mhm.
what you like and how the story in the in the summary of 10-15 lines at the most. Uh,
Mhm.
so similar way, the database or the way we generate influence out of this database is what the data analyst function is. That's how we are able to implement such processes within the short period of time. Okay.
Mhm.
So you got the idea of formatting and all, right? A bit of idea.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
we'll keep working on it. Again, to add to that, these are the dates, right? Now let's try to
Mhm.
understand a bit of detail in formatting. I'll click here, I'll right click, I'll say format cells.
Mhm.
CSV do well, CSV to text, it actually taken is a date. I've just converted this file from CSV to XLS, right? This is my XLS right now. Okay, so let me show that to you as well. This is my XLS. Could you read?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Now, if I go to formatting, and let's say I go to date, I'll say format cell. And here, these are the options available for me to convert the,
Mhm.
right? So I can choose
Mhm.
any. Means I can have a day, date, and blah, blah things. Even I can convert this day to date and all. We'll come to that. If I choose this, now here I have Wednesday or whatever it may be, and I'll say apply. Could you see
Mm.
how
And
simple?
if you want to duplicate it
Uh,
to all the cells,
yeah.
then you just take that and you pull it down.
No, no. Okay. This is a format painter here.
Mm.
This means that
Okay.
pick up the formatting, or I want to format this cell like that.
Mhm.
Now, these are longer ones. That's why it shows in hash. So when you increase
Mm.
your width, you might be able to get that. So Wednesday, February,
Okay.
it includes that comma, spacing, and all those things.
Mhm.
And I've just did in just a kind of click. I'll save again, and the size hardly matter because we already saved it. Where is that XLS? Yeah, this XLS is still 94.5. I'll just refresh this thing. Refresh. It's still 95.4. Okay,
Okay.
so this
Mm.
formatting is saved without much what you can say effect on the storage capacity. So
Mhm.
formatting takes very little space. This is very important whenever you're trying to work on a bigger database. You have to
Mhm.
understand what's slowing my process, how much it will slow down, and so on and so forth. Okay, I'm just adding
Mhm.
a couple of these things for more readability and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is just to give you a good overview or importance of formatting. Now another thing, okay, whenever I come to this sheet, I want to use something called filter, okay, because I want to sort by let's say name, pardon me, um,
Bless you.
or business unit sense, or department, or whatever, or gender for that matter. So what I have to do, I have to use something called filter. Okay. So there's a
Mhm.
filter facility in Excel. You need to go to data, in data, right? And there's this filter. In Microsoft 365 might be somewhere else. We'll come to the 365, okay, afterwards. But still, I want to show it on a lower, version right now. The symbol will be similar in new Excel as well. So I'll click on this. Could you see what
So you
happened?
clicked on data before, right?
Yeah. Data and filter.
Okay.
You see what
Okay.
happened?
Mm.
This small triangle came here.
Yeah.
Okay. These
Okay.
are what they call filter. Okay.
Right.
Now I have applied a filter to this header row. This is what header row. So whenever you have CSV and take it to Excel, it understand the first record as a header row. I'll repeat again. When you use CSV or any text-based database, the first row is assumed to be your header row.
Okay.
So the Excel converts that row as a header row, but it won't show it that way. So you need to apply some formatting. Now, when you apply this formatting called filter, the Excel assume your first row is a header row. If
Mhm.
you don't have your first row as a header row or first record as a header row, you are in, you have a problem. So whenever you do this conversion, you need to keep certain thing in mind. Okay. So whenever we do some hands-on practice, you'll get to that thing in more depth. Don't worry about remembering it everything right now. But this is a kind of progression of learning, right? So that's kind of how you apply filter. Okay, try it on your own after the session so that you'll also get comfortable with this. You have this file, right? Or I'll send you this file. Don't worry.
So no, I have the sample one, yeah. So
Okay.
if on the CSV, if the top header
Uh-huh.
was already marked, let's say it was highlighted yellow, and
Uh-huh.
when I convert it into the XLS file, will it automatically show up like that? Like, will
Yeah.
it show the yellow thing too?
Yellow or green, there are different colors.
Yeah.
It's a kind of version tracking within Excel. Yellow,
Okay.
I can make it green also. You've seen, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what I mean to say is, will it automatically,
Yeah. By default, I think,
uh,
okay. By
by
default,
default, yeah. Mm.
Excel converted to this green, I believe.
CSV to,
Yeah,
yeah.
green or some other green. I'm not very sure. It
Mm.
converts to some shade of green. The way I've seen it. Might
Okay.
be some
Okay.
different. But yeah,
Right.
okay. But yes, different color. And it's clearly different. Might be depending on your other cell background and all those things. And we'll come to the
Okay.
coloring part as well. There are really nice pre-formatted things available within Excel. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know. Now, categorization part of it. Now, and this is a kind of, I think, a thousand row data, if I'm not mistaken. Let me take you to the last row. Uh, okay, the last row is 1001. One being the
Mm-hmm.
header, so it's 1,000 record perfectly. Okay, and you can move around with this scroll bar and all. This is called scroll bar. Okay, I believe you know that thing. Now let me categorize on based on business unit. So when I click on this thing, there's a drop box. This is called drop down, sorry. And we have one, two, three, four different distinct categories, different distinct type within this database, right? Now,
Mm-hmm.
I've taken a clean sample for your understanding. There could be some
Mm-hmm.
sample which are not so clean, or you
Mm-hmm.
try to play around on these, and we'll discuss this thing in the next session. How this daunts you in terms of whenever we apply filter to a non-clean database or the database which is not cleaned here. Okay, because of
Okay.
the blank, there will be some blank. Try to play around it, and we'll discuss it in our next session. Take it as
Okay.
homework because I want to have the feel. I want to understand the problem. I want to understand or have a look at what type of challenges you might face, right? So these are the
Mm-hmm.
first thing. And what I can do here right now, I've selected all, right? I've clicked this
Mm-hmm.
thing. So it just deselects everything. And let's
Mm-hmm.
say if I just want to go to the manufacturing. So what
Mm-hmm.
I just click, right? This is just a simple click. I'm
Mm-hmm.
clicking my mouse. Okay. Try to play around so you'll get in confidence. I'll say, okay. Now, if I can see,
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
so just the manufacturing, and I can see how many records of manufacturing I do have in terms of these blue numbers. So blue means you have applied the filter. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. There are just 5 records of other department. This could be wrong. I believe some problem management. Let me try the other one. So there are so many people in terms of manufacturing. If I choose another, okay, and there's a dot now, and there's a filter. Could you see this also?
Yeah, I do.
Perfect. Now I'll click this thing and click on copy. There is plan. Okay, the filter getting applied. Okay, okay. Oh, these are not sequential numbers. So seventh row, eighth row, and out of 237, could you see these things? Okay, let me make it.
Mm-hmm.
Could you
Out
see?
of the 1,000 records,
Uh,
I guess only that many are
top,
237 are
corporate.
237 of 1,000. Yeah, I see that. Yeah. Corporates. Yeah.
Manufacturing. So 269.
It's 269 of 1,000. Hmm.
And they've given me third record, fifth record, and so on and so forth. Rather, this is the first, so this third means it's a second record, and so on and so on.
Right.
So this is how it's happening.
Right.
And I can apply filter to anything. And when I just select all, it says ready. So many selected 13. Okay, sorry. So I've selected 13 data accounts, that's why, and so on and so forth. So I can go to a gender now.
Mm-hmm.
Or I can go to, let's say, ethnicity, and I'll select Asian, and so many Asians. So 4 of 4, you might not be able to see that. So this is the 4 of 4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so play around with this kind of scenario. Please
Mm-hmm.
keep an eye on the status as well because you're using 365. They might have improved these things. Okay, and please guide
Right.
me on the understanding of you in our next session so that we can discuss it together in depth how the Excel is
Okay.
good as well. Okay, and it's
Okay.
sometimes it's a learning for me as well so that as a person, right, you have a
Mm-hmm.
separate different observation tactics so that way you can
Mm-hmm.
guide me better. This is what I missed also. So that's kind of learning for me as well. So,
Okay.
uh, and let's discuss openly how this tool is improving, how it's going to help me as an analyst. Now, I want
Mm-hmm.
you to be an analyst, independent of my thought process. Whatever I think
Mm-hmm.
is different from a person, whatever you think, and start, free your mind, start
Mm-hmm.
thinking more in depth. Because again,
Mm-hmm.
as I told you, it's an art, right? How do you build solutions?
Mm-hmm.
We are using
Mm-hmm.
scientific processes like some predefined 5 step, 6 step, 7 step process. But still, as an artist, I need to build a solution to a level where my humanness is also implemented in these things. Could
Mm-hmm.
you understand what I'm trying to say, man?
I got it. Yeah, I
So
understood.
this is
Yeah.
the I think very crucial part of overall learning, so that will improve. And believe me, it's nothing like I have learned all those things. I'm also learning day by day. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now move on to something like first step of a much of analysis called data retrieval, data collection, or gathering the data in the layman's term. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Started. Do you want to stop here or we should continue?
Yeah, we can do this in the next session, actually. Yeah.
Chalega, because
I think I'll practice the other part.
sure, no
So
problem.
that way, yeah.
The first step again. Then I'll basically we'll try to understand the DBMS, the RDBMS part of it, the
Okay.
SQL part of it, and I'll give you this list of this thing, and I'll share the
Okay.
presentation as well, so that what type of database we have, what are the different database we have, why it's called object oriented hierarchy and blah blah things. So there are some, I think, how many? Some 12, 10, 12 odd database we'll study. These are the basic differences again. There could be
Mm-hmm.
some more type of DVMS also, and we'll basically
Mm-hmm.
have a look at it whenever it comes to it, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
this is the kind of first data retrieval step we are starting in data analysis. Now, I believe you have a good idea in terms of
Mm-hmm.
what is data, what is element, and what is formatting. Am I right
Yeah.
on thing, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And we also have a free data service provider in terms of practicing my sample data as well. Okay. So
Yes. Yeah.
don't limit yourself from just this sheet. Try to play around with different sheet. There are some, even unclean sheet available on that website.
Yes.
Rather than me giving my sheets, I would you like to get from there. And it's more of openness, and you can search for the sample Excel spreadsheet available on the net via your laptop or desktop as well. So that will give
Mm-hmm.
you of such practice in case if you need more sheets and all. And this is a kind of openness will bring together so that you'll not limit to these whatever sample or this thing given by me or shared by me. Okay. Mm,
Okay.
um,
Sounds good. Yeah.
Another thing is basically I do showcase some YouTube videos, and I'll tell you one of them.
Okay.
When I come to, let's say, no, not using is afterwards part. Yeah, formatting. Let me tell you, conditional formatting. I just have,
Mm-hmm.
this conditional formatting YouTube video I've downloaded yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Just when I was understanding. Today, let's talk about my absolute, the most favorite feature of Excel. Sorry. So it's a really great tutor who basically works on Excel. I'll give you the link
Mm-hmm.
as well in our next session when
Okay.
we discuss this thing. I do share these kind of YouTube video, which are again copyrighted by those creators, not by me. But I share because
Right.
of their wellness, goodness, or which I find really effective in terms of learning. Okay, and
Mm-hmm.
this is where
Mm-hmm.
which even I have learned quite a good number of things, and these give you a concise idea. Okay, but again, these are not copyrighted by me or created by me. So are you comfortable with me sharing such YouTube videos, or you
Yeah,
want?
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
So
Yes.
please stop me if you're not comfortable in anything. These are again their creations. I don't take any credit. Only I've searched it and I find it really good. Okay.
Yes, please. Yeah. Can you share this? Yeah, it would be
I'll
helpful.
share
Yes.
this thing. This for the next, session. Because
Sure.
I'm just asking you because I don't want to ask you after showing this, right? So,
Right, right. Yeah.
try to it because, within, I think, 10 or 12 minutes, this guy explained around 6 or 7 conditional formatting, which we're going to
Mm-hmm.
learn it anyway. And
Mm-hmm.
it's really great for practice so that, you can, I'll share the link as well. So you can have a look at it whenever you want to. This will give you additional practice of learning, additional way, or a different tutor guiding us. Even
Mm-hmm.
guides me even if you see it repeatedly because Excel is mature tool, right? So it has a
Yes.
complexity, and we can't remember the nth level of complexities. So I might view such video which I say I lack in conditional formatting. So what I'll say before interview, have look at this video. I'll write it somewhere in my notes
Okay.
list. This guy, I don't remember his name. Pardon me for that. But still, I can normally I plan my interview in such way. Whenever I'm trying to give interview, have a look at these three video, 5 minutes, 12 minutes, and these video, 10 minutes kind of longest video, I'll say. Normally 2 minutes, 3 minutes video, I normally share with you during the session because these guys have explained it in really well. I believe better
Mm-hmm.
than me, and that's why I kept these things. Okay. Again, I
Okay.
say they are best in their field. They have did their best in these such videos, and that's why I would really like to share. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't take any credit for their creation or their creative idea the way they've explained it. Okay.
Sounds good.
So I'll do
Yes.
so. If you want, I can share the link right away. It's really great video. But I don't want
Yep.
you to and start learning conditional formatting, and then I'll be redundant, right?
Yeah, no, you share as and when we go. I think that would be better.
Even next
Yeah.
session. So
So
let's.
I'm going to practice on this other thing in the meantime. Yeah.
I don't want to burden with too much of your homework as well. I can understand that.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
And please correct me if I'm going haywire or wrong. I'm a talkative person, so these things do happen now. Okay.
No, no, that's fine. Yes.
Let's stop here
Okay.
right now, and let's meet again on Monday.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much. You have a good weekend.
Thanks. Have a good night, man. Take care.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.